Hey there, here's Arthur, and this video aims to show quickly how the workflow of importing Word files and Word manuscripts into SciFlow works. Here we'll use the NASJ article workflow. As you see here, this is the importer URL for the NASJ article. The same is available for poetry as well, but those two just differ in the outcome of the produced PDF or HTML. So this doesn't actually make a difference, so it works for both cases. And hopefully also works for workflows in the future, because the embedding of the text as making the decision on stylistic choices and the embedding of metadata should follow the same principle as we show here. So when you are here, you need to be logged in into SciFlow. That's the slightest of your problems. There won't be any bigger problems than that, I promise. You can then upload a Word file by clicking on this button. Before we do that, I definitely want to point out that assigning headings to your Word file definitely helps. If we look at the Word file that I want to upload right now, this is one of the interviews we did with the last NASJ journal. We see that here the styles are open, and for this running text we see this is normal styling, and here we have normal styling as well for the subtitle and for the title as well. This wouldn't be too much of a problem because this is an interview, so we don't have a developed chapter structure anyway. So this could work out fine, but what we have here in the beginning is also a bibliography, and a bibliography is, as we will see later, always good to have as an standalone chapter. So what we do here is to show that this styling is still normal. We just go ahead and make that styling a heading 1, and that way SciFlow can then recognize this as a chapter. So quickly save that before we upload the file, and go back to the importer and then upload the manuscript. Here we have the interview, and it doesn't take long for the text to appear in the importer as well. And as you see here, we have now the beginning of the document is made into a chapter title by default, and then we have the bibliography here as a heading 1. The author information is now in the bibliography chapter, but that isn't a problem because we won't use it in that way anyway. Only thing we need to look out for is this little acknowledgement here, which we will just move up here, I guess. But we'll see about the details later. What we see here now is that the attributes like strong text or bold text rather is delivered, as well as the hyperlink. So all we need to do right now is to import that into the editor, and once that's done, we will see here below document is created, and we can open it in SciFlow. And with that, we are in SciFlow in the editor, where we can start to edit the document that we have at hand. To disclose the main principle that the importing is built on, there are two venues that you need to take care of. One, the document that you see here. As you see, the document title is here in the chapter title. These are things that need to be done. So working with the text is important. If you have any other stylistic or editing choices regarding the text, you do that here in the editor. And then there are the metadatas concerning the authors that need to be inputted here into SciFlow, and regarding the journal and the article metadata that we work with here in the export and submit menu. So these are the two venues that you need to keep in mind, which are the text and the metadata. And from there you can get started. You can go ahead and work with the document. Before we do anything, let's start with the status quo. Let's just export the document as it is with the template that was applied automatically through the importer, and just show you what the article would look like without having been worked on at all. So we see the shell of the journal template here quite nicely, I believe, with some metadata missing here, the document title missing here, and some wrong author names here, because I'm very, very much not part of this interview. I'm just the one working with the SciFlow, and there there is the place where these two names should appear. So that is what we're going to aim at, to get the document title right, and then later to see what other stylistic choices are possible and how we work with the author data that we have here, how to work with the Commons license, and also how to work with the bibliography as we see it here. And this is quite nice to have it as a starting ground, because every change that we make here is later reviewable here, and that is one advantage of working this way, which I very heavily recommend. You can have direct feedback on what you change in the document here at the export. This is like dynamic in the sense that it applies any changes that you make in real life, not in real life, in real time, in real life as well, but in real time. This is the point that I was getting at. So yeah, let's just jump ahead, not jump ahead, let's jump in and go ahead and work with the document title. So we have the document title here as a chapter title, which is not what we seek after, so I just cut it out, which is, big spoiler, one thing that we will do a lot of here, but it saves us a lot of time. So here we have the title already, the subtitle is here. We'll just have that added here, and let us remove that, because as we saw, this is not the place where they should appear anyway. And with that, we have the title at least set. So let's have a quick look at that, just to give you a glance of what I mean with direct feedback, because as you see now, the changes are applied immediately. So there are a few less construction sites that we need to work on. Next thing would be this introduction text. We can leave it as is, but what I want to point out is, if you're looking for an introduction, these templates here have a specific style for abstracts. I added a new chapter here via the plus symbol, and here under options I can change the type of the chapter to abstract like this. And as you see here, this is now an abstract, and abstracts have the special attribute, I would put it like this, that their text in these NASJ templates is generated indented. So they have indentation by default. So I once again cut the introduction text and paste it in here. And what we see now is that this little part will experience indentation, which makes it stylistically a little different. So this is just to show you how we did it last time, and on top of that, it only gives you an idea how abstracts work, and how you can add an abstract either by assigning the chapter role here, which we will do for the bibliography as well, or by just adding a new chapter and then using the pop-up that shows up below to add the role. And with that, we have the chapter, the abstract, and the introduction text indented. In the next chapter, we have then the interview segments, and here once again you can decide on stylistic choices. I remember we did like spaces in between each and every segment, like this, so that you would have more space in between them. This is a purely stylistic choice. I will leave it like that so that you see what the difference is. This is something where the immediate feedback through the export comes in very handy, because you can directly see what happens in the document if you do it like this. So as you see, this is with the spacer, this is what it would look like, this is what it would look like without the spacer, so you can have the direct feedback and see what the choices you make here may have of an impact on the exported document here. Further stylistic choices that you can make are found here in the format bar, so check that out if you are interested in anything more. But as you see, attributes like the boldness of the text, hyperlinks, or even italic portions of the text would be transferred through the word import anyway, so most of the time you're good to go in the experience thus far. But if you need it, you can have any option you like here, like from superscript to subscript. You can do long quotations, which indents a paragraph like this. And would you be working on a poem, that is quite important as well, because here over the context menu you can turn a indented portion into a poem as well. And with that, you can work on poems like this. And the special thing about poem structures in SciFlow is they don't break automatically. So Here this would break just according to the structure of the document. Poems are a little different so that you can produce and recreate the structure that was intended by the person who wrote the poem. So yeah, check that out. Go to the context menu of a block quote. Here it doesn't work. This is something different. Make it a long quotation first and then go to the context menu, and then you can make it a poem if you wish to. This is just a little excursus because this is the only difference in working between articles and poems, and just wanted to point that out so that you have heard of it. And yeah, following this logic, you can have bullet lists, numbered lists, you can have footnotes depending on where your cursor is positioned. You can have a footnote like this and add a footnote. Whoops, come on. So there you have the reason why I don't write articles. I just import them into SciFlow. It takes a lot of time for me to write a proper text. And yeah, then you have a footnote there. But footnotes, by the way, are imported through the Word file upload anyway. We just happen to have no footnotes in this text here, sadly. And then you have figures, tables, equations, hyperlinks, but as you see here, these are transferred as well. And you can even add special characters. And I think most importantly for this kind of stylistic work, adding some page breaks. If you need a manual page break at any point, feel free to leave them this way. They are once again dependent on where your cursor is, and then you can add a page break there. And this is it for making these stylistic choices. Just go with the format bar or with the keyboard. Add some line breaks yourself like this, and that's the way to go to produce these little edges and nudges that make the text pop out the way that you want it to look like. Another thing that we should talk about is the bibliography here at the bottom, because if we look at the bibliography here, for one, it is numbered, I believe. It has a chapter number. Yes, we don't want that. And the references that we have here are missing an indentation as well. So to fix that, once again, we work with the role. So here, click on chapter options, and we are now in the window that you probably, hopefully remember from before when we added the abstract. But here we don't want an abstract, but who would have guessed it, a bibliography. So once I apply those changes, this will then have an indent later on as well. But we still have another problem here in the bibliography. Well, not really a problem, but another thing we need to have a look at, and this is the authors. The author information is still here in the running text. Then we have this little acknowledgement here, and here the cutting, copying, and pasting comes in handy as well. I just take this whole block about the author, the whole biography, and I just once again cut it. Go to the authors menu, and there I can add a new author. But what I recommend is the first time that you go into the authors menu in any document is to go on your own account, which we see here, and go ahead and just hide yourself from the publication, because that is what caused a lot of problem in the initial export, as you saw. I don't have to convince you that I'm not part of that interview, so let's just hide myself from that publication. As you see here now, I have the symbol that I'm hidden, and now I can calmly go ahead and add the real authors. You can work with ORCID here, can add different affiliations. In this case, it's just enough to paste in the biographical information here, and this is now in here. As you can see, you can have bold text portions here as well. You can have hyperlinks, so anything that the Word file provided you can paste in here. And then I just take the name, copy that, and paste it here into the first name field, cut out the last name and paste that into the last name field. And the most important thing, if you've come this far, is to save your changes, because as you see here, this is not conveyed yet to SciFlow. Now it is, and here we have a new author added to the document. We do the same thing for the other author here, and cut that out. We don't need that anymore. And go ahead into the authors menu and add the I clicked on the wrong button. This is when you want to add someone who has a SciFlow account. Most of the time this isn't the case, and even if it is also no problem to just do it that way, because it boils down to the same thing. Copy out the first name and the last name, get rid of the period, and then once again don't forget to save. You have another save button here at the bottom, so whichever one you choose, they do the same thing. Important is that you actually save. And with that, we have added the actual authors to the document. So now the bibliography is almost a bibliography. We still need that acknowledgement here to be placed at the right position. So you could have you have two options here to edit to one of these biographies. That's the word that I was searching for. Sorry about that. You can paste it in there if you want it to appear there, or you can paste it in here. These are these little additional decisions that are up to you or the editorial board or the person who wrote the interview. This, as you see, is a small thing that you can quickly ask and then decide on how you want to do it. So we did a lot here. We changed the bibliography to an actual bibliography, and we added the author name. So if we look at the document here, what we expect to happen is this numbering to disappear, the indents for the references to appear, and then to have this author name removed and the right author names placed here instead. So let's just quickly reload the page and see what happens. And as you see here, it wouldn't be much of a demonstration if it wouldn't work now. So we have the author names here now, and we have the bibliography still numbered, which is no problem. We can work on that, no problem as well. But we have the indents here, so that is quite nice. And we have the about the author section now placed here automatically at the end of the last page. So this is a stylistic choice that is done by the template on its own, so you don't have to worry about that at all. So the last things that are missing are only the numbering here of the bibliography and the information about the journal and the article, like DOI, issue, number, volume, whatever it's called, we will see in a minute. And with that, we are almost done, or practically done. So let's go ahead. First thing we solve is the bibliography numbering. So once again, in the chapter options where we chose this to be a bibliography, you have numbering as well. And there you can choose to not number the chapter. And it is as simple as that. And with that, let's go ahead to the other part, which would be the journal information here, but it isn't here. It is in the export and submit menu. You have a little options and metadata field here, and if you click on it, you can specify exactly these parameters. So the DOI you can type in. I can't recall what it actually was, but this looks somehow like a DOI. I guess you get the gist of it. The journal issue number could have been 73. It was 72 the last time we did that. Then you have the page offset, so this would determine on which page the numbering starts. Here it is number 1, but if you would have the next article as a consecutive one, you may want it to start on 16, so you could type in 16 here. You can have a oh my god, stumbling over my own words. You could have a suggested citation and put it in here. Journal volume numbers, you can work with the font settings, with the citation styles. That is almost advanced at this point, but you can have that, you can fiddle around with that. Citation styles only become relevant if you work with the references in SciFlow, but as we saw in the bibliography, they were provided through the Word file. So the last thing that we need to do here is to add the Commons license. You need to once again paste in something, a code block here, and the code block you can generate quite easily by following this link here. Open this in a new tab, and there you can choose the features of the license, then you get a preview of what the license looks like, and here below you get the code block that you need. So the last time we did that, I guess, if I remember correctly, we had no adaptations allowed, and the commercial use was also forbidden. And as you see here, the license changes in accordance to that, and I only need to copy that, go back into the metadata menu, and then paste that in. And that is all that I need to do, except for saving us. Of course, this time the save button even moved the frame of my screen recording. How dare you? And yeah, with that, let me still don't forget to save, even with the distraction. And yeah, I clicked on that. Very good. And with that, we'll close this menu, and we should see that here in our export, we expect here the common license to appear, and at the beginning we want some more information about the issue, and the DOI would be nice as well. And as you see, it appears here, and if we scroll down, we see it was very quick, admittedly, but as you see, typesetting wise, it's almost done. If there are choices to be made, it's like very, very minor ones and very, very particular ones like these. The bibliography you have here, unnumbered and with the indentation, and then you have the about the authors section here and the commons license. So yeah, this was real quick. This is a video, so if I was too fast, you can just stop in between and look at what I did more closely. But I guess, I hope the gist of it got conveyed. Once again, to subsumize, work with the text here in the editor and with the format bar to provide the stylistic specifics you want to achieve while exporting, and then don't forget to add the metadata through the authors and through the export and submit menu, so that you have a nice text and then the metadata embedded behind it, because then you have this PDF file ready to use. You can share this link with anyone. They don't need to have a SciFlow account to view the PDF. And if you fiddle around with the link a little bit and replace the NASJ article with NASJ HTML, go to the end of the URL and change that to HTML as well. You also get the NASJ HTML version, which you can share as well, and can have direct feedback on that regard as well, because here are some little differences, like footnotes become endnotes because there are no pages in HTML. So as you see, with a few clicks and a few bits of editing, we can provide a PDF and an HTML in a few measures. And yeah, hopefully it helps you. Don't forget the format bar, don't forget the metadata, and then you're set and good to go. I hope it helps. If not, shoot us a message. We are glad to help and help you produce and import the word files that you want to work with and produce the result that you're aiming for. All right, that's it from me. Wish you a great time with SciFlow and the importer, and wish you the best of success. Bye.